Hi, Munchkins, and welcome back to Miss Patty's Kitchen. How have you been? It's been a while since Miss Patty's seen you, but I wanted to make sure that I got back to you. So, remember I said the last time we got together that we were going to have some more Bible stories, and I didn't tell you what all those were going to be, but we're going to start today with Noah's Ark. You know Noah's Ark? You remember it's kind of like a floating zoo? So, Miss Patty is going to read you about Noah's Ark. And then I've got a special poem by one of my favorite people, Shel Silverstein. Okay? So let's get started on Noah Had a Zoo. Have you ever been to the zoo? What animals do you like to watch the most? The monkeys going ooh, 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 ooh. How they love to chase each other and play. The elephants walk really, really slow, swaying their trunks back and forth. And the lions open their mouths wide and yawn and roar. What big teeth they have. In the zoo, we see many animals all in one place. These were all in one place too, weren't they? The Bible story reminds us of the zoo. God told Noah to bring 2 of every kind of animal onto the ark. Can you imagine how loud they all were? Making all those different animal sounds all day long. Imagine the roosters crowing and the cows mooing and the cats purring and the dogs barking and the bears growling and the crickets chirping and the frogs croaking all at the same time. Oh my goodness, can you imagine the noise? But Noah and his family took care of the animals inside the ark until they could go safely outside again. God loved Noah and his family and all the animals very, very much. So if you remember, the reason that God told Noah to make the ark was because Noah and his family were the only good people left. And so God thought that the best way to take care of things was to start all over again. Remember, he made the world and he put everything in it in the beginning with the creation story. Remember, we went through that. Well, now everybody had gotten so bad and they weren't paying attention to God. They weren't doing good things that God just said, you know what? I'm done. We're going to do it all over again. So God did a do-over. And so he had Noah help him do a do-over. And so it rained for how long, do you remember? Well, 40 days. Oh my Lord, that's almost a month. Can you imagine how long it took for the water to dry up before Noah could bring all the animals back out of the ark? I imagine he and Mrs. Noah were just overwhelmed with all the food that they had to bring. Can you just imagine what all they had to do? It was just mind-boggling, wasn't it? And so when it stopped raining, God promised Noah that he would send them a sign. And what did he do? He sent a rainbow. And so that rainbow tells us, that's God's first promise to us, that he'll never, never destroy the world again with flood waters. So that was a good story for us to learn. But it also means that we need to obey God's rules, because God feels so much sadness when we don't, that he just wants us to go back and do it over again and do it right. So that's what everybody wants, is to just make sure that we obey God's will. So now I'm going to read for you a poem by, like I said, one of my favorite people, and his name was Shel Silverstein. Now, if you noticed, we still think about the unicorn and it's a magical thing. Well, this is about the unicorn and with Noah. But if you notice, there was no unicorn on the ark. What happened to the unicorns? Well, this tells you what happened to the unicorns. A long time ago, when the earth was green and there was more animals that you've ever seen, and they ran around free while the world was being born, and the loveliest of all was the unicorn. There were green alligators and long-necked geese. There were bumpy camels and chimpanzees. There was cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, the loveliest of all was the unicorn. But the Lord seen some sinning, and he caused the God some pain. He said, stand back, I'm going to make it rain. He said, hey, brother Noah, I tell you what you do. Go and build me a floating zoo. And you take 2 alligators and a couple of geese, 2 bumpy camels, and 2 chimpanzees. Take 2 cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, Noah, don't you forget my unicorn. Now Noah was there, and he answered the call, and he finished up the ark just as the rain was starting to fall. He marched the animals 2 by 2, and he called out as they went through, "Hey, Lord, I got your 2 alligators and your couple of geese, your humpy bumpy camels and your 2 chimpanzees. Got your cats and rats and elephants, but Lord, I'm so forlorn, 'cause I just don't see no unicorns." Oh, Noah looked out through the driving rain, but the unicorns were hiding and playing silly games. They were kicking and splashing in the misty morn. Oh, those silly, silly unicorns. Then the goat started goating, and the snake started snaking. The elephant started elephanting, and the boat started shaking. The mouse started squeaking, and the lion started roaring, and everybody's aboard but the unicorn. I mean the green alligators and the long-necked geese, the humpy bumpy camels and the chimpanzees. Noah cried, "Close that door, 'cause the rain is pouring, and we just can't wait for those unicorns." Then the ark started moving, and it drifted with the tide, and the unicorns looked up from the rock and they cried. And the water come up and sort of floated them away. That's why you never see a unicorn to this day. You'll see a lot of alligators and a whole mess of geese. You'll see humpy bumpy camels and a lot of chimpanzees. You'll see cats and rats and elephants, but as sure as you're born, you're never gonna see no unicorn. Isn't that a funny little poem? So, Miss Patty wants you to keep doing your coughing in your elbows and your sneezing in your elbows and washing your hands and saying your prayers before you eat, before you go to bed. And remember that Jesus loves you, and so does Miss Patty. And we'll come back and we'll have more Bible stories at another time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.